Welcome back, everyone. Ready to dive into some more ancient wisdom.
Always.
Good, because today we're going to be looking at some fascinating rituals from ancient Israel and how they might still apply to us today.
Sounds intriguing.
Yeah, it is. We're going to be looking at the Book of Numbers, chapter 19. And this chapter is all about a very specific purification ritual.
Okay.
And the central element of this ritual is something called the red heifer.
The red heifer.
Yes, the red heifer.
Okay, well, I'm all ears.
All right, so tell me, what exactly did this ritual involve?
Well, the first thing you had to do was find a perfect red heifer.
Okay.
And by perfect, I mean like completely unblemished. Like not a single white hair, nothing, no imperfections whatsoever.
Wow, that's pretty specific.
It was, yeah. And then this heifer was sacrificed and burned completely.
Okay,
But here's where it gets interesting.
okay.
They would mix the ashes of the heifer with water. And this created something called the water of separation.
Water of separation.
Yeah.
Okay, why that name?
Well, it was all about cleansing in ancient Israelite culture. If someone came into contact with a dead body, that was considered a major source of defilement, something that could disrupt your spiritual balance and even impact the entire community.
So just touching a dead body made you ritually impure.
Exactly. It was a very different worldview back then.
Right.
For the Israelites, ritual purity was really important for maintaining a right relationship with God. They believed that defilement, whether it was from death or other sources, could create a spiritual imbalance, a kind of separation from the divine.
So this water of separation, it was kind of like a spiritual reset button.
Exactly. It was a way to restore purity after being defiled to realign yourself with God and the community.
Okay, so you touch a dead body, you're considered defiled. You need this special water to cleanse yourself and restore that balance. What happened if you skipped the whole purification thing?
Well, let's just say there were consequences.
Oh.
You could be excluded from the community. You couldn't participate in religious life, social gatherings. It was a pretty big deal.
Yeah, that's serious. It sounds like a lot more than just washing your hands after, touching something gross.
It was about maintaining that deeper connection with God and the community.
Yeah, it really puts things into perspective, doesn't it?
It does. And what's fascinating is that even though we don't sacrifice red heifers anymore, those underlying ideas, those ideas about cleansing and renewal and community, they still resonate with us today.
I could definitely see that.
Yeah.
So how do you see those ancient ideas playing out in modern life?
Well, it's like even thousands of years later, we're still searching for ways to purify ourselves and renew ourselves, both individually and as a society.
Yeah, for sure. So how do you see those ancient ideas playing out in modern life? Like, give me some examples.
Well, let's take the idea of renewal, for example.
Okay.
This red heifer ritual was all about restoring purity, right?
Right.
And today we might not have these like ritual sacrifices,
Goodness.
but we do have our own ways of hitting the reset button, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Like, what kinds of things are you thinking of?
Well, think about like meditation or spending time in nature,
Okay, yeah.
or even just taking a break from, the everyday hustle and doing something that you love.
Right.
Those are all forms of renewal.
Yeah, I totally agree. For me, it's like going for a long hike in the woods or just getting lost in a good book. It's like I can feel the stress just melting away.
Yeah, exactly.
But what about the hygiene aspect of the ritual? I mean, we're not exactly worried about becoming ritually impure by touching things today, right?
True, but the emphasis on cleanliness and preventing contamination, that's definitely still relevant.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Like, think about it. We have hand-washing vaccinations, public health measures. All these things are designed to protect us from disease and, keep us healthy.
Right.
It's a different context, but the underlying principle is very similar.
Yeah, it's like we've just replaced the water of separation
Yeah.
with hand sanitizer and vaccines.
Exactly. And here's another interesting connection. This red heifer ritual, it was specifically about dealing with the defilement from death, right? And today we have all sorts of rituals for dealing with grief and loss.
Yeah.
Like funerals, memorials, even just personal practices for remembering loved ones.
Right.
They all help us to cope with those big transitions in life.
That's a really good point.
Hey.
I never thought about it like that before. But those rituals, they do give us a structure for dealing with death.
Yeah, they do. And it's not just for the individuals, it's for the whole community.
Right. Which reminds me, we were talking about the communal aspect of purification before.
Yeah.
It wasn't just an individual thing for the Israelites.
No, it wasn't. Purity was something that impacted the whole community.
So how does that translate to modern society?
Well, it highlights the importance of social responsibility, right?
Okay.
Because our actions, they have consequences not just for ourselves, but for everyone around us. Whether it's ethical behavior or environmental awareness or just being mindful of how we treat each other, it's all connected.
Yeah, totally. It's like that saying, no man is an island. We're all part of something bigger.
Exactly. And there's actually one more piece of this ancient ritual that I think offers a really powerful message for us today.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What is it?
It has to do with the idea of forgiveness and second chances.
Forgiveness.
Oh.
Okay, now I'm really curious. How does that fit in with sacrificing red heifers?
Well, remember, the ritual, it provided a path back to purity,
Hmm.
a way to reconcile with the community after, a transgression.
Right.
It was about restoring that right relationship.
Yeah, okay, so it's like a spiritual do-over.
All
Like you
right.
mess up, you go through the ritual, and you're back in good standing with God and everyone else.
Exactly. And it's a really powerful concept, one that we can definitely apply to our lives today.
Swear. In what way?
Well, I mean, think about it. We all make mistakes, right?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
We have moments where we fall short. But that idea of forgiveness, offering second chances and receiving them, it's so essential for healing and growth, both individually and as a society.
It's true. I like that. It's like you were saying before about no man is an island.
Right.
We're all connected. And forgiveness is kind of like a way to rebuild those connections after they've been broken.
Exactly.
That makes me think about the people who had to actually carry out this red heifer ritual.
Mm.
The ones who found the heifer and did the sacrifice and dealt with all the ashes.
Yeah.
That was pretty intense.
Oh, absolutely. I can only imagine the weight of that responsibility, both physically and spiritually.
Right. But I guess in a way, their actions could be seen as a form of purification too.
Right. That's a good point.
Because by helping others to restore their purity, they were also contributing to the well-being of the whole community.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. It's like they were taking on the burden of defilement so that everyone else could be cleansed.
Right. It kind of reminds me of healthcare workers today.
Oh.
How they put themselves at risk to care for others.
Yeah, that's a great comparison.
Wow. We've really covered a lot of ground today. From ancient rituals and red heifers to modern day ideas about renewal and hygiene and social responsibility and even forgiveness.
Yeah, it's amazing how much we can learn from these ancient practices.
I know. They really show us that even though so much has changed throughout history, there are still these fundamental human needs and challenges that we all face.
Exactly.
So what's the big takeaway from all of this? What do we do with all this information about red heifers and purification?
Well, I think the key message is that we need to be intentional. Intentional about our actions and how they impact ourselves and the people around us.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Whether it's taking care of ourselves, promoting public health, offering forgiveness, or just thinking about how our actions affect others,
Right.
It all matters.
I love that. It's like we all have a responsibility to cultivate purity and renewal in our own lives and in the world around us.
Exactly. And you know what? That brings us to a really interesting question for everyone listening.
That's fair.
What personal rituals do you practice for renewal and maintaining balance in your life?
Ooh, that's a good one. It's something for all of us to think about.
It is. And maybe even something to share with the show.
That's a great idea. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks to everyone for joining us on this deep dive into ancient purification and its relevance for modern life.
Thanks for having me. It was a great conversation.
Until next time, everyone, take care.